everyone, my name is Monica and welcome to my channel. For today's flip, we're going to be redoing this dresser that came out of my mom's bedroom. If you guys remember from last week, we ended up putting new furniture in her room and this little dresser came out of there. I got this dresser back in 2017 and this was in fact my very first flip. I think I ended up paying $20 for the dresser, so that's the number we're gonna use when I tell you the investment and the total amount of money earned from flipping this dresser. So the first thing we're going to be doing today is sanding the top. For this, I'm going to be using my orbital sander. I'm also going to be using 80 grit sandpaper and obviously our respirator because again, we always want to protect our lungs to do this. And while you guys watch me sand this piece, I wanted to ask you if you would be interested in watching upholstery videos. I do a little bit of upholstery myself, and I don't know, maybe you guys want to see that. Let me know in the comments below. I did use 80 grit sandpaper to remove the top coat and the stain, but after I went over with a 120 grit sandpaper just to make sure that the grain on my wood wasn't too porous. That's always something you want to do. You want to start with lower grit paper and go up higher. The higher you go, the smoother your surface is going to be. But be careful if you end up doing too high of a grit sandpaper, you're going to end up closing the pore on your wood completely and the stain is not going to take evenly. And here you have it, you guys. Look how pretty this looks. Now I don't like to sand my edges with my orbital sander, so I'm going to be doing it by hand and I'm going to use 220 grit sandpaper. Up next, I'm going to be removing all my hardware. When you're doing this, just remember to put it in a container or put it in a plastic bag so that you don't end up misplacing it or losing it. So here's a little trick that I learned from other furniture artists. If you're painting your furniture with the doors inside, you know what I'm talking about. It's a struggle to get them back out. But if you take a little piece of masking tape or painter's tape and you attach it to the inside of the drawer and then leave the remaining part hanging out, it'll be easier to open and close the doors even though you don't have the hardware attached to it. Now I didn't have to do this for my piece because my piece was not shiny at all, but just for the purpose of showing you guys what to do if you're refinishing a piece on your own. If your piece is very shiny, you're gonna have to sand it with 120 grit sandpaper. And this is mainly to make sure that you're gonna have good adhesion and that you're not gonna have problems with your paint chipping off in the future. On to the second most important part of flipping furniture. I'm going to be using crud cutter today to clean my piece. You guys know I like this product a lot, but feel free to use any degreaser you may have at home. Since I'm going to be using new hardware, I'm going to be using some plastic wood filler to fill in the old holes. And just make sure that you put a little piece of masking tape or painter's tape behind it so that your wood filler is not falling out on the other side. While the wood filler is drying, we're going to go ahead and stain our top. We're going to be using Min Wax in the shade Natural, and I'm just going to be using a sponge applicator. I'm going to make sure that it's saturated, and we're just going to start from the very back of the dresser and going all the way across. You don't need to use a sponge applicator for this. You can also use a lint-free rag. After I'm done applying my stain, I'm going to take a lint-free rag and I'm just going to go over the entire top just to make sure that I'm removing any excess stain. We're going to let the stain dry, and while it dries, I'm going to take you guys to the store to go shopping for some new hardware. I like going to TJ Maxx, Home Goods, or Marshalls to buy my hardware because, to be honest with you, it's cheaper there. And you can always find some really cool hardware here. Now last week I used Melange, and for this project I'm going to be using Melange again, but this time I'm not going to be spraying it on. I'm going to be applying it with the brush. I'm going to be using Jett, which is the black one, and Tobacco, which is this brown one. Now for this part of the process, you're gonna need your favorite brush, which can be a synthetic brush or a natural bristle brush. And in this case, I'm using my synthetic brushes from Zebra. And you don't have to, because the paint is not as thick as other ones. But if you want, you can have a mister in hand just to mist your surface or mist your brushes to make the paint glide a little better. I do keep my brushes in Ziploc bags just to keep them moist and to keep the paint from drying. If you're painting for the first time, I want to tell you right now, it's going to look ugly with the first coat. Just trust the process and apply your second and third coats, which is actually recommended for this type of paint. Okay, so let's talk about the numbers for this piece. My total investment is $67 and I'm going to be asking $300 for it. So that means that I'm going to be able to get a profit of about $233. Please keep in mind that the market is different from state to state and that what I get for my flips may not be what you get for yours. As you can see here, I took a small brush and I'm gonna be free-handing the entire edge of the dresser, and I just hate taping, you guys. I don't know about you, but for some reason I just hate it. So I took a chance and it paid off. This time it paid off. And we cannot forget to do the bottom of the dresser. You gotta think about it, okay? If someone's coming to buy this from you, they're gonna load it up in their truck and this is what they're gonna see. They're gonna see the bottom, so make sure you paint. Now here, I just wanna show you guys how I applied the first coat of paint to the fronts of the drawers. I know that painting for the first time can be a little intimidating, but you just have to trust yourself and trust the process, especially after you apply that first coat of paint. I know it can look ugly, but you just have to follow the instructions from the paint company. In this case, again, as I mentioned it before, it does ask to apply 3 coats of paint. And just wait till the end, you guys, because the 3 coats of paint did wonders for this dresser. Here I'm just misting my brush. I'm painting in direct sunlight, and so that's making my paint dry a little faster. If this is your first time painting, please do not do it in direct sunlight because your paint is going to dry way too fast and you're going to end up having sticky paint, and that's going to cause a ton of texture. And here I was gonna start filming and showing you guys how I top coat my dresser, but instead Barry decided to be super cute. So I'll go ahead and introduce you guys to him. He is my 8-year-old Labradoodle and he's just the cutest thing ever. To top coat, I'm gonna be using my sprayer, and I'm just using regular Poly, and the brand that I really like is Farmhouse, but you guys can use any brand, and you can even top coat this piece with wax if you wanted to. I just find it super fast and easy to use my sprayer. I took a trip to Michael's and I found this stencil. I'm going to be putting this on the front of my drawers and I'll show you guys in the next clip how I did it. I'm going to be using this stenciling sponge that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take a little bit of paint and unload the excess paint because you do not want to put too much paint on the stencil. If you put too much paint, you're going to start smudging the paint under it. The key here is to do it slowly and to build up the paint as you go.
As always, before I show you the final result, I just want to ask you guys to please give me a thumbs up, share this video with any other family members or friends who might like to see content like this. If you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the notification bell because again, I'm going to be doing this on a weekly basis. I have a video for you guys every week. And don't forget to let me know in the comments below if you do want to see upholstery videos. I'm not a professional, but I've been doing my own upholstery here at my house. So if you guys want to see something like that, just let me know. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.